Welcome to Straight from the Muzzle, folks. We're anything but straight. My name is Space.
And I'm Ruby.
And we welcome to our show, which is about Fangasms. We haven't done one for a while. I think the last time we did one was in October.
Yeah, I think if I recall, I think that's the last one I remember seeing.
You know, I'm going to have to go take a look real quick. Let's see. The last one we did was, October 5th. Damn. So it's been a while. We usually, for Fangasms, we usually let emails pile up. And then every once in a while, we'll do a Fangasm email. So if you're new to this and you're not sure how this works, we let them pile up and then we'll read about 10 to 12 different emails coming from everyone. And while they are sometimes like a month or two old, they're still relevant because people love to hear their stories on our podcast.
Yep. And I was dragged into this without being told what I was doing until I got here. So...
Yeah, so I mean, I told Ruby, hey, we're gonna do a Fangasms episode, but she's never done one before. So
I like the responsible, mature adult said, yeah, sure, why not? What are we doing again?
Jump in deep end. It's the only way you're gonna learn to swim. That's what my parents did. They threw me into the deep end of the pool until I learned how to swim. So
very similar, except I took to the water immediately, and I absolutely love. I should have a dolphin persona just for that. So
damn, I think I struggled and I cried, but you know, it's a terrifying thing. The reason they did it so early on is because we lived in California, like right next to the beach, and so they wanted to make sure that if we went out of the ocean, we knew how to swim. So that's a legit reason. We have about 12 or so emails to go over. We're going to go over every other. So I'll read one, Ruby reads one, and we'll kind of just interact throughout them all.
Yep.
Ruby, I do want to prepare you. Sometimes, and I will probably guarantee at least one or two of these emails will have just the worst grammar you could think of, and it's going to throw you through a loop.
Got it.
But that's how they is. I honestly thought about running it through an AI to see if they can like punctuate things, but I'm just like, it's just too much effort.
I mean, you have to remember, I did substitute teach for high schoolers, so I've seen the worst of the worst.
That's true. So also, before we go into today's topic, I'm going to hand the floor over to Ruby here because you brought up a topic that we should go over and have it ready, which is an emergency episode. Do you want to explain what that is specifically?
Okay, let's see if I can word this correctly. Yes, after recent events involving a certain orange Cheeto that is in the White House.
Trump.
I will refuse to say his name, and if I do accidentally say it, bleep it like I'm saying the most heinous cuss word in the world. But with all of the executive orders coming out, and I've noticed a lot of people not really understanding what executive orders are, how they're handled, what it could mean for a lot of us, we need to do kind of a emergency trans rights episode / LGBTQ rights episode, kind of to go over all the shit that's happened in the last week, which the last week has been a very long year, so it's a lot to cover already. But I want us to kind of cover what it means and what kind of to expect. While Space and I are obviously not lawyers,
we'll do our best,
so we know. Yeah,
and we'll provide
done a lot. So
we'll provide material for you guys to do, like where you can go to get current information, along with maybe some hotlines like to the Trevor Project and a couple other places, so that if you feel like you're in a crisis situation, you can either use one of those options or give it to someone who is going through crisis, because the government, because Crump is trying to wipe it away from federal and state websites. So we're going to do our best to kind of help you guys. Feel supported.
It has been cleared from the federal websites. It's kind of disturbing. And the video that plays when you go to whitehouse.gov is bizarre.
Well, he's bizarre. So he's...
Oh, no.
Crump is in a whole different category.
You're talking to someone who has won awards from the National Holocaust Foundation, and I get a lot of deja vu watching some of his shit. So, and it's not in a good way.
I've actually come to the point now where I'm starting to block certain like news sites. Like I usually go to CNN, but all I go now, every time I open up CNN, it's just plastered with his face. And I'm just like, I just want to read some good news, and I can't even get that. So now I'm on the search for news websites that aren't political, so I can just read about other things that are important in my life. I hate that I have to do that, but now I have to do that.
Yeah, but I've already started compiling news things and information about executive orders, because also his followers don't understand what executive orders are either. So it gives you some ammo against them, which is always useful. Knowledge is power, people. Become powerful.
Until that episode comes out, you can go to glad.org. That's GLAAD.org. They're very up to date on their news. Anytime an executive order comes out or there's a change that reflects the LGBTQ plus community, GLAAD makes sure to make a statement so that way you can read it and understand it in an easier way of understanding it. But they go through like what to do. Here's what it is. And I really like that because it helps a lot.
Yeah. So. And also, not to mention ACLU's website, they cover a few things. And of course, Trevor and Trans Lifeline, always good sites if you need help, or they have some information.
I think recently the Trevor Project came out with a newsletter, and it was like a dear user or dear viewer. And they really go over just like in details of like, how much they support us and everything. And it really made me tear up because I'm just like, oh my God. I'm starting to almost tear up because I'm like, this is so powerful. We're not alone. So You're not alone.
I think I read someone, I got to get my dates right. It was someone said they're trying to take us back to 1930s and they're going to end up with 1789, which is the French Revolution.
Wow.
So it's, they're heavily outnumbered, but if you listen to the news reports, it sounds like they're winning, and they're not. And I'm very kind of happy to say that.
So keep an eye out for that. It won't be like a planned episode. It will be when we feel it's necessary and we need to do it now. And then we'll just upload it and ready to go. So it will be part of the season, but it'll be kind of random.
And it'll probably be one of my worst language episodes.
I count on that.
I know. I get passionate and the George Carlin in me comes out and I just start cussing.
I think on the whole team, besides Paradox, you have such a filthy mouth.
But
Paradox,
it works.
I know.
It works. I don't have an unnecessarily filthy mouth. I just know how to pepper in the word fuck.
Yeah, and it just works so well. Whereas I don't really like swear as much. I do swear, but I kind of keep my composure. But I know for a fact that I can count on Ruby and Paradox to just totally blow it out of the park with swears.
Yep.
Forget the no swear rule that we tried to do several seasons ago. It does not apply anymore.
It does not work for me. I get too passionate about things and I can't. When I am on here, everything is such string of consciousness that I don't know what I'm saying until it's out of my mouth, to where I'll go back and listen to episodes I'm in and go, when the hell did I say that?
I do the same thing too. Like, I'll be listening to an episode and I'll be like, did I really say that?
Yeah. So I don't use up the space in my brain to not cuss. That's asking way too much for me.
Also, I'm just going to put a feeler out there. We're going to be doing Pride episodes in June. I haven't decided if it's going to be every week or if it's just going to be every 2 weeks. But if you guys have topics you would like us to cover that we haven't already regarding Pride and LGBTQ plus community stuff, please let us know. So that way we can start researching and getting our notes together. Because the one thing I can, pun intended here, pride ourselves on is that we absolutely advocate for the LGBT community, and we want to give back as much as we can. And I love doing those episodes. They're just so special and close to my heart.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen the schedule for the upcoming season, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it's not just because I'm at half of them.
No, we have a great list, a compiled list from all of our staff members, and probably more to come from our listeners. So I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's pivot to emails. So I'll go ahead and start off first. This one comes...
I'm first.
Oh, are you going to read from... Okay, we can read from top to bottom.
Oh, I don't care which direction we go. So yeah, we can go bottom. It's fine. So yeah, you go first.
Okay, so this email comes from October 26th from someone named Rampage Werewolf. I don't know if we actually covered this or not. Probably not, because that episode came out on the 5th. So this is a new email then, and I just haven't responded until now. Sorry.
Sorry. You're going to hear that a lot. Oh, okay. Straight for the muzzle drinking game. Take a drink. Every time we go, sorry, we haven't answered early enough.
Oh, I've got my drink ready. Mike's Hard Lemonade, baby.
Yeah, actually, not really, because you probably get alcohol poisoning within the first 3 emails.
And if you're not eligible to drink, just do water, because I know it sucks, or just do a drink of your favorite. But yeah. Sorry. Oh, that's another one. Yum. Okay. So this first email comes from Rampage Werewolf. So it says, hello, Space Sparrow Paradox, and all other hits for this podcast. So I'm assuming that's you as well.
Hosts.
Oh, see, I told you. The grammar, it kills me.
I can't say shit, so that's why I know how to correct.
I've been listening to your podcast for a few weeks now, and it's now become my favorite podcast. I love how you guys aren't afraid to discuss serious topics and how you go off on funny side tangents.
Wait a minute. You're bringing up funny side tangents, and I'm not in the ones you think?
We all have like insane side tangents. As Sparrow has pointed out, our first episode was a side tangent in itself. So
yeah,
it works out.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking.
I'm a 32-year-old bisexual male whose Sona is a werewolf. I'm also a father of a 4-year-old girl. I'm just starting to get back in the fandom as I haven't been really active since my daughter was born. I am also a gray muzzle and in my 30s.
I'm older than you.
I'm 38.
I think you and I are right at the same age. So yeah.
There is such an epic battle in the fandom of what determines you as a gray wolf. And I don't know.
You're only as old as you act.
Exactly. And I definitely
don't. So I'm
act
immortal.
As old as I am, I act much more childish. Okay. So I'm also a gray muzzle and in my 30s and a father, and I feel like I really don't fit into the fandom anymore because of that. I know it's silly, but I've never encountered another furry who has a child. I have actually met several people who have children. Mm-hmm. Sorry. Damn it.
I mean, the one that comes to mind immediately is the Badger family. So
yeah, and I know a couple of people out here that are married, they have kids, and they're still furries, and they're pretty active. So you're not alone. Let's see, where was I? Oh,
don't fit into the fandom. Yeah.
I think it would be a fun idea to interview someone who is a furry and has a kid, as I've never seen it done before. You guys are always talking about the fandom and how positive it is and how life-changing it can be for people. My ex used to be a furry, and then she decided she was done with it and told me I had to give up the fandom and being a furry, and so I did. I'm now single and I'm able to be a furry again. Listening to your podcast always makes me laugh and smile and reminds me that it's okay for me to be a furry. I think you guys give good advice and are good examples of what our community represents. I know I'm rambling a bit and it's long, but that's okay. Without the fandom, I wouldn't have been able to become comfortable and discover my sexuality, and I wouldn't have my daughter, who is the best part of my life. I'm not the best example, but this fandom has given me a lot, and my favorite part of the fandom is that it's always changing. My new Sona, Rampage, better represents my current self as like a werewolf. I can go from caring and loving and gentle to becoming angry easily and wanting to go on a rampage. Love your show. I really had a hard time not choking up.
My first thing is no one here can apologize for a long email when 3 years ago they had to cliff note an email and then have the bitch on to interview her. And now I'm a host.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody has beaten my 4-paragraph essay of an email.
I've read a few and I'm just like, nope. I'll skim through it because I like to, respond to all of them if I can. But some of them are just so freaking long.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but I'm that old bitch that if I start telling, I'm that old biddy that if I start telling a story, I'll just ramble on like an old lady.
I mean, that's expected for an old biddy.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate your email. You're not alone. There are lots of people in the fandom that are married or are single and they have kids. I've even seen couples and standalone fathers or wives, I guess you could say mothers, not wives, where their kids are also involved in the fandom too, which I think is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So we can definitely get a guest on. Perhaps we might even reach out to you.
Yep.
Yeah. So thanks for sending in.
Be warned,
What?
you might end up a host.
Yeah. Yeah, right? I always find I have unique ways of finding people to be hosts. It's like a very special connection. So yeah, you never know.
Yeah. Okay. Going to the
This
next
was a cool one.
This one is from, I believe the name is Yip, which I'm all in for that. Hi, Muzzlers. I didn't know we had a group name.
We don't. Well, this is actually the second. This is the second time someone's referred to us as muzzlers.
We do now. Muzzlers.
Yeah. Muzzlers.
I'm in for it. I'm in. Thank you. Hey, Muzzlers. I've been debating this because of my anxiety. Anyway, here we go. I, Yip, am a young furry without any connection to the fandom other than music, podcasts, and YouTube videos, which is a pretty good connection. I want to have some way to tell people, but most people think that all furries are zoos and use a litter box. I know what they're talking about.
I know exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah, I've actually personally had to explain this to people. Are there any good sources that I could have them look at? Also, what do you guys think of my only art that I have drawn of Yip, drawn in Procreate, which is above, and it's adorable. Wish you all the boops. Yip.
Okay, so I'm going to go pull up, I think Anthrocon has a really good... Let me see, Anthrocon.
But yeah, the artwork is adorable. I love all the little pink accents. It's cute. But yeah, I've had to explain this to people too, more than a few times.
Anthrocon has... If you go to anthrocon.org and then you go to the About Us section, there's a little tab called What is a Furry? And they shorten it down, but it's a really good explanation of what a furry is. Plus, Anthrocon's kind of like the leading convention anyways. So you'll find lots of really good pictures and resources there. I highly recommend pointing people in that direction. Not a wiki page. God, not a wiki page.
You can do the fandom, which is by Ash Coyote. It's free on YouTube.
That's right. And we did an interview with them. There's a part 1 and a part 2. Also on our YouTube channel, we do have one. We just never use it anymore because it was more dedicated to when we used to be called Fur Media. But there is an episode on there called Parents of Furries. And it's a really good, video episode for you to watch if you want to kind of explain what it is to your parents, if you ever want to use that as a resource.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the one I've had to deal with people is the litter box in schools thing. And all that is conservatives trying to create a more disturbing view of trans people. And it's all absolute bull. And sadly, people believed it.
Yeah. Gotta love it when people just believe the most bullshit things.
Yeah, that's why we have Republicans. Oh, did I say that out loud?
It's like, do you literally believe everything you see on TV and the news? Do your research. It's not that hard.
No.
God.
But that takes thought, and sometimes the things I research go against my opinions, which are obviously right.
Oh my God, what is it? It's my religious belief to not look into it or something like that.
Yeah. And it's my religious belief to hit you with a shovel.
That's so great. All right. So our next email comes from, and I don't really know how to say this name, so I'm going to probably missay it. So it's either a Chuck, a Chook, Ack-Huke, AC Huck. I'm just going to come up with a bunch of different ways.
Say it differently every time.
Yeah. So a Chuck, a Chook,
bless you,
Ack-Huck, AC Huck.
I will tell you, we're not making fun of your name. I'm making fun of Face for not being able to pronounce it. There is a difference.
A Chuke. So those are all the ways I could think of it. So we'll just go with that.
Well, it's Native American. Bad part is I'm looking further down and I can see the origin of the name. I should actually be able to pronounce it because I can speak Sioux, but I'm so out of practice.
But carry on pronunciation. Anyways, so it says, hello, I've just started listening to your podcast a few months ago and I love it. Your podcast showed me a part of myself that I kind of knew was there, but I didn't know it was a whole fandom. I remember you saying that you would help any of your listeners find groups near them. I tried finding furry groups and so far I've found the Pennsylvania Furs on Facebook. I really want to see if there's any other fur meetups in Edinburgh, I think is Pennsylvania. Probably said that wrong too.
No, you said it right.
Okay. And was wondering if you could maybe direct me in the right direction. My pronouns are he, him, and my first name is a Chook, which is Native American means spirit. Oh, okay. This is for the whole team too. I attached some artwork that I did. Thanks for letting me email you. So there's stuff in there. Let me look at Edinburgh, PA. I'm just doing a quick search. I'm here.
Also, you're in Pennsylvania, which is the Anthrocon area.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sure there's plenty. Let's see.
So there's a Pennsylvania Furs Facebook group. There's a website called paw-furry.org, which is Pennsylvania Furries. There's also a Twitter, if people still use that. Kind of might.
And if you do still use it, Blue Sky is available. It's a really nice place to be.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm kind of just tired of using Twitter. Plus, most of everyone that I follow, like on both my regular Surf the Muzzle, well, Surf the Muzzle hasn't really changed, but my regular and then my kink accounts, people have started to just migrate over to Blue Sky. So I might as well just close them.
Yeah.
So according to Google, there isn't very much information about Edinburgh, Pennsylvania furries, but they do recommend some meetups that do happen to like Anthrocon, one called Fernando's Cafe. It's a monthly meetup for furries in Pittsburgh that takes place at Fernando's Cafe on Liberty Avenue. So those will be the two options there. If you have Telegram, you could also go into Telegram or search Telegram furries for Pennsylvania and then see if there's any groups that you can join and then see if there's anyone that does meetups in Edinburgh. You might find a small one, but they have some really cool artwork. I really like the last one. It's very like metallic-y. That's pretty cool looking.
I suck at doing mech stuff, so I always am fascinated with people doing machinery.
So technically, my persona does have like cybernetics, but I just haven't really incorporated it into any of his new art. But I would love to go back into cybernetics, and I totally want to just destroy one of his arms and put one of these mechs on because it looks cool. Yeah. So, yeah, thanks for emailing us. And then I will get in contact with you to see if I can help further the search for furries in your neighborhood.
Okay. I think this next one is a 2-for-1 because I think it's the previous.
It looks like it's a twofer. And then they also, their name is Twilight. That's good to know. I have to think, I bet you anything. I mean, they're probably not, but I bet you anything they've got to be some sort of Italian because of the last name.
We're not using it, but I know how to pronounce it. So yeah, I think it is Italian.
Yeah, I'm good at pronouncing like names from other countries. When it comes to like our own and persona names, it throws me off. Take it away.
Let's see here. Hey, I love listening to your podcast, and I think you guys are doing a great job. You've inspired me so much and keep me going when I was ready to end it all. You guys are truly lifesavers, even though you might not know it. We know it now, if we didn't already. If you read this on a show, I would really appreciate it. Also, I think it would be awesome if you could get Verplex onto one of your future shows.
Pulling it up.
Yep.
Thank you. Yep.
Keep up the good work. Can't wait to hear more from you guys. Also, I thought it'd be fun if you knew and or read my Fursona's backstory, which is inspired by Space's backstory on the show. You truly don't have to read it on the show if you don't want to. So here we go. I think you should read it.
This is kind of cool because my backstory is somewhat similar to what they came up with, and I kind of like it. So it's called the Genetic Lab Entry 101, Eclipse Moonwall. Eclipse is a genetically engineered anthropomorphic Arctic wolf super soldier. He was being trained to fight with every weapon imaginable, but his signature choices are as follow. I love these. Dual blades with the ability to cut through almost anything. Throwing knives with laser tracking technology, so he never misses his mark. Dual pistols. Yo! I love dual pistols. For close to medium range firearm combat, and a scoped pistol to gun down anyone who is out of range of his throwing knives or whoever is wearing armor too thick for the knives to penetrate. Eclipse was supposed to be the greatest military superweapon in the United States, but never anticipated his mental capacity or fighting abilities. During one of his physical tests, he broke free, out of our control, and escaped from our facility, killing anyone who got in his way. To this day, we have no idea how he escaped, and all we know is that he's toppling foreign governments and may one day come for our own. So it's very similar to like my backstory for my persona because he was kind of like built in a genetics lab and he broke free and now he just kind of like wanders the universe doing his own thing. But he does have like this technology that's built into his cybernetic enhancements where he can summon certain things that he wants to from his hand, but it only works with his genetic code. So if someone were to like pick up a gun that Space had initially created, they wouldn't be able to use it because it doesn't work with them. It's all by like biogenetics. It's pretty cool. So that's pretty awesome. I love that.
And then part 2, sorry, I just realized I forgot to mention my main persona's name and what most of my friends call me, as well as who I am, as well as who I would like to be referred to. I can speak English, I promise.
What do you call it? English?
English. My name is Twilight. I'm a young fur and have autism. I've been in the fandom since I was 9, and now I'm 15, so I'll be considered a gray muzzle by some people pretty soon. Honey, you have a long way to go.
A long way to go.
You are under half my age, or our age. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Again, super sorry. I should have sent this information before the first email, and I feel so bad that I didn't. Please forgive me. I wasn't thinking straight for some reason. Okay. It's okay because we saw it. They grouped together. Second off, not thinking straight is basically how we pick our people for this show.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
If you're a normal person and you're just fine and everything's just average for you, I don't want you. Like, it's just not to be like rude, but I pick very specific hosts that have a uniqueness about them, that have good chemistry with everyone else. There's a specialty to it. Mm-hmm. Also, I just got to say, as a 15-year-old, the fact that you came up with that backstory, that is dynamite. Mm-hmm. So I would love to see you create more from that. So this could be like an epilogue, I guess. Is that or is it a prologue? Epilogue is before, right?
No, epilogue is ending. Prologue is before.
Oh, so you could use this as a prologue and then actually create like maybe a short story or an ongoing story about Twilight's history and their travels and stuff. That would be really cool. Yes. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. All right. My next email comes from Furry X. So if you guys don't know, Furry X refers to someone who has either used their real name or didn't give us a name. And so therefore we come up with something called Furry X that's just general across the board. So from Furry X, hi, I really like your guys' podcast and I have an idea for an episode if it hasn't been done already. I was thinking about an episode about how furries are portrayed on social media. Some specifics I thought of are suitors that post more explicit things and how news and media focuses mostly on the aspects of the fandom and not what we do as a community. Thank you guys. You're so cool. I listened to most of your episodes while making fursuits. Oh, they make fursuits. Yay. Woo-hoo. The great thing about reading emails that I've noticed over the years is we get a lot of emails from people that are artists and fursuit makers that listen to our show in the back end while they're working on their stuff. That is so cool.
Mm-hmm. I listen to this while I'm working, and I think my coworkers think I'm nuts on how much I just randomly start laughing. So
I sometimes listen to it when I'm just driving home from some places.
I need to focus on driving. I can't do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yes. Focus on that. We can definitely do an episode about how furries are portrayed in social media. We already know that the news, and this is just in general, we already know that no matter what kind of news it is, the one thing that sells is tragedy and bad. That sells the most because that's what piques most people's attention. So whenever you see stories on the news about furries, it's usually most of the time not a good thing because it's something like, oh, they caught a fursuiter having sex in the park. That actually happened. They were in their car, but they were still at a park where there were kids. So that's still kind of messed up. So they'll feature things like that. It's not necessarily a reflection of the community. It's just a bad reflection of how that news source decides to, I guess, proceed with what they're doing. So we can definitely do an episode about that, though, because that would be a really good thing to cover.
Yeah, that definitely. I'm not big on social media. I'm good with news, but that sounds like, for...
Paradox
have a bunch of people.
uses a lot of social media, and Deer Dog uses Tumblr and I think TikTok mostly. So they'd probably be the more user-friendly ones for that particular episode. Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll put it in our season.
Cool. Speaking of our season, yes. The next email, which they're going to be very happy to hear when I say
they're
at the end.
Also in our group. Hello.
Yes.
Our Telegram group.
Howdy Space and Co. I'm Calbar, one of the newest additions to the growing collection of bears in the podcast Telegram group. How many bears do we have?
A lot.
Okay.
Bears, so like bears weren't like a huge thing, but I feel like they're coming out more and more. I think Sparrow was a bear, but then she changed her persona again to something else, and I haven't kept track.
I've almost always been a wolf.
So bad.
I have come to you with an episode idea that I know y'all have mentioned before, and I'm going to make that sound professional. Magic the Gathering. I know Ruby, the podcast team's resident spellslinger, hi, has mentioned Magic on several of her episodes, so I suspect she would be game for a full episode on it. I think you actually put it to where I would be doing this episode myself, but they also did me some help by actually breaking down the topics. Thank you. Holy crap. Possible subtopics include the long history of anthropomorphic animal characters in Magic. Yes, there are a whole lot of them. The similarities and overlap between the Magic community and the furry fandom. Yes, there's a lot of that too. Both tend to be very welcoming communities, especially for LGBTQ plus people, individual furries in the Magic community. I know that Ellis Gort, who has done some awesome card artwork in the past few years, has also done a lot of furry artwork. And I highly doubt that Ruby is the only furry who streams Magic stuff on Twitch or makes Magic content on other sites.
They referenced you. Yay.
They referenced
so
me
excited.
At the top. They referenced me at the top.
Well, I know, but they still referenced you. I think that's so cool.
I know. I'm smiling because it's awesome. No, I am not the only one, especially after Bloomborough. There's a few furries that came out. But the recent Bloomborough set, which may have referred to as the furry set, yes. The last few sets we called the hat sets, or the changing hat sets. So you went from Thunder Junction, which was what if they were cowboys, to Bloomborough, which is what if they were furries, to Duskmorn, which is what if it was in an 80s horror movie. Now we're at Aether Drift, which is what if they were all NASCAR drivers. So yes, we've been having a lot of those sets recently.
I gotta say, Thunder Junction would be a really good name for like a gay bar or a sex move. It just sounds so cool.
No, I love the idea of there being, oh my God, because there's actually, I think, a bar on Thunder Junction. That sounds perfect for a gay bar.
It would be so
I
great.
love it. And then listener emails about Magic. I'd be happy to contribute to the episode, whether that's through research assistance or as an outright speaking guest. Actually, you've done me a huge favor right here. Anyways, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to the Straight from the Muzzle team and the listeners. Best wishes, Calbar.
Sorry about it being late. There's another drink.
Yeah. So good news. We're planning on doing a Magic the Gathering episode coming up, which I have not spoken to Space about yet, but might or might not include my girlfriend, who is also a Magic the Gathering player and a pretty successful Magic streamer, who is actually next week or next couple of weeks going to be interviewing one of the designers for Magic the Gathering. So,
oh, that's so cool.
Mm-hmm. So if I get to pull in a guest, I'm pulling her in because, yeah.
We could definitely do like a 4-host on that. So me, Calber, you, and your wife.
No, it'd be my girlfriend, actually.
Sorry,
I have a girlfriend.
I always refer to your girlfriend as your wife. I don't know why. I just do. You guys have been together for a while.
It would be my lovely girlfriend, Onion Bug, who is a Magic streamer and a multi-channel Twitch affiliate, which is nice.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. In the last 2 years, she's accomplished a whole hell of a lot. But yeah, this breakdown definitely helps because I'm not used to making the bullet points yet. So thank you for doing my job for me. Copy, paste.
Copy, paste. I also tagged them in the Telegram chat saying, hey, we're reading your email.
Yep. Good news. We are actually doing this episode.
Yeah. I mean, I know like your forte is Magic the Gathering. So I figured you have a lot of fortes like witchery, Magic the Gathering. You do a lot of work for the transgender episodes, which is great.
I have done a lot in this life and I might as well I have a lot of good stories.
So yeah, we're definitely doing that episode. I don't know how long it'll be. It might be like a part 1, part 2. We'll have to determine that once we start recording.
Yeah. Especially with the next couple of sets being like a Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy crossover is coming.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That'll be fun. All right. Our next email comes from Furry X. I'm sorry that took me a while to say that. So they say, hi, so I'm an equestrian and a furry Therian LGBTQ. That was all in slashes. So I was wondering if you could make an episode about or with furries, Therians, LGBTQ in the equestrian community. Like what are their experiences with the fandom, belief, or identity have influenced their life in the spot? Also, there's a cool app where you can feed and sponsor in real life stray cats. Also, free horsey pics. What?
Okay, it is definitely
It's
a very
called
cute horsey.
Purr. It's so
and
great.
the picture of the horsey is adorable. I love horses. So
my coworker, she works on the night shift, so I don't really see her, but she is an equestrian. She does intermediate to advanced like competitions, and she's always like, she's got like, I'll say that her horse's name is Mr. Sir. It's so funny. And she's got pictures of him like all over her desk, but it's so cool. But yeah, we can definitely do an episode about that.
Well, I was going to say, good news number 2 is we're also planning a Therian episode this season. So
who would have thunk?
Well, it might not be an equestrian focused one, but hi, another episode I'm in because I'm also a Therian. So
but an equestrian episode in general would be really cool.
Oh, yeah.
You can have people write in if they're equestrians and what their experience in the fandom. And also, I know some people do it as a hobby, and then there's others that do it as like their actual 9-to-5 type job. So it'd be really interesting to see.
They can gallop and prance right into our emails and leave messages.
It's so funny, though, because just a little bit further up, someone mentions something called hobby horsing. I know what that is. It's a real thing. I've seen people. I thought it was a joke. I thought people were just making a joke about it. No, it's real. So we'll cover that in a minute. But yeah, thanks for emailing, and we can definitely make that an episode. I think your next one.
Yep. Click.
It's a cool name.
Yes, it is. Hey. Okay, this is a new one. I've never had anybody put this in there. Hey, my persona's name is Zimby, and I have a very odd question. I can't for the life of me find the charity stream where you draw art that you guys did that you did to help kids buy school supplies. I know it's been years, maybe over 5 years, and I feel silly for asking you guys over email, but I can't find it, or I couldn't find it myself. As I donated, and I was wondering if you still had the art files or if the video is still up and I missed it. Thank you for reminding this crazy email from Zimby.
So I'm
This is you because I was not part of the group at that time.
So I'm thinking it was, they said about 5 years ago. So we were still uploading videos to our YouTube channel. So it wouldn't be on our podcast. So I'm just looking to see if we posted it anywhere specific. Let me just click on videos and this just shows me everything.
Which I gotta tell you, I'm all on board if we want to do video streams again because I'm set up to play video games.
I think what it was is it was a special. I'd have to ask Sparrow, honestly, to see if she still has like the information for it. But it was considered a special live stream, so we didn't record it because we wanted people to join in and watch and stuff while we kind of did our thing, and then that way it was like exclusive. So I don't think we have it anymore, but I'd have to sign in to our YouTube channel and then look to see if maybe it's a video that I have unpublished or I've taken away from the view and to see if it's there. Let me do some research and I will let you know. Okay, next up. All right, so our next email comes from Vertigo the Eel. Hello, Space and everyone else. I am a young fur with a ribbon eel sona and an idea for y'all's show. You guys should get an anti-furry guest on the show and explain what the furry fandom really is to them. Particularly make it for parents and friends who may not be 100% supportive. Also, y'all could completely dunk on them as well. Love and support from your fan, Vertigo the Eel.
All right. First off, I don't want to. My mother has already listened to the transgender episode, and I've tried to gaslight me. I don't want her ass on the show.
We have an episode from the Furmedia days called Parents of Furries, and it's a Furmedia interview. It's only 11 minutes long. It was 11 years ago, but it's got like 66,000 views on it, so I'm assuming people still refer to it. But it's a really good thing, I guess, basically for parents to kind of understand. We also did another episode called Rated P for Parents. So that one also goes over basically stuff for your... Let me just double check to make sure I'm not like gaslighting myself here. Let's just see here. Yeah, so it's basically like how parents react to their children being a furry in the furry fandom and how to handle their children being one, or let alone how do you tell your parents. So those particular YouTube videos, I'll make sure to link them in the information below. Those would be really good, like I guess you could say educational notes for people who would want to give to someone or refer to it. And also the Anthrocon website is also a good one. A ribbon eel, though, that's an interesting one. I'd like to see what your fursona looks like. I don't know if we would do an anti-furry guest because we don't necessarily want to. I don't want to promote.
I also personally, to get someone entertaining enough to justify it, I don't want to give someone that negative any platform.
Yeah.
So, and much less if we're going to dunk on them, as entertaining in the short term that would be, in the long term, it could very much be used against us.
Yeah. It's a funny idea, and I love all different types of ideas. But like you said, we have to look at the short run, and we also have to look at the long run, too. There's been episodes that we've passed on because we just don't want to have heat.
Actually, I might have to talk to you about it after and get details, but it'd be really interesting to do an April Fool's episode and just have me play the anti-furry.
That would work.
That would be entertaining. Just go through Twitter and Facebook comments about furries and find the most heinous shit. Or you know what? Tumblr.
You should take, I would pay you to do this, but it would put you in a really uncomfortable position. So I don't think I'd actually do it. But if you were willing, I would get you one of those podcast recorders that you can hold in your hand, and you can walk into a church and ask people, what do you think furries are?
That would involve me talking to people and also walking into a church where I could burst into flames.
Exactly. So again, I don't want to put Ruby in that position. It's a funny thought, but it's not practical because that puts you in a really awkward situation, and I don't want that for you.
Reddit. There was what I was trying to think of.
I don't have a Reddit, but I do use Reddit for like game tips and stuff and maybe some research, but Reddit is not 100% factual, so I can't really depend on it for actual information.
Yeah, as entertaining as it would be, and it would be entertaining, it would be like us doing a transphobe episode and having someone who's transphobic on here. It would give them a platform.
Nazi fur on there too. It's just what they're called is, we call them controversial topics. And so while we have covered controversial topics in the past, we're very, very particular on what we use. And even then, we are very specific as to what information we use because we don't want it to come back and affect us, but we don't also want it to affect any of you. So they're kind of like, they're back burner episodes that never actually make it to the actual burner.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, which is me. Or is me reading it. I didn't send it in. Hi, straight from the muzzle. Currently, I am 13, and my persona's name is Nyx. I love that name. A Protogen Fox. I'm trying to find a website for custom full Protogen suits to get an idea for how much they would cost and can only find partials. Do you have any ideas where I can find some? I love your podcast and everyone on the podcast, and I'm inspired by your episodes to be more open about myself. I don't even know how I found the podcast, but all of you are fascinating, and I'm glad I found it. Thanks in advance. By the way, I don't even know how I found this podcast. It just appeared one day.
We get comments from people that are saying like, I was just looking for a podcast on Spotify under furry, and yours came up, and now I'm hooked. And I'm like, okay, that's cool.
First off, I love your persona name. I love the name Nyx for way too many reasons, but yeah.
So as far as the Protogen thing goes, first and foremost, Protogens do have, they're what we call I think they're an open closed species. No, I think they're a closed species. So you have to follow specific rules when creating a Protogen. And then there are other versions of Protogens that are completely off the mark. So you can't even touch those. So I don't know. I think a Protogen Fox sounds really cute, but I'm not sure if that's in the, I don't know. We tried. I don't even know if we did a Protogen episode. No, we did. I think we did.
Pardon the interruption. This is Rim the editor and also the fact checker in this moment. There is an episode about protogens, which are classified as an open species. Let me just see if I can find a little snippet from that episode. Here we go.
So remember, protogens are open species. Primogens are closed species. So we're going to talk about what you can do. Like, you can do anything you want with the species, but you have to have specific things on it.
Anyway, if you want to learn more, you can dive all into the world of protogens in Season 8, Episode 19. Okay, back to the emails.
The specifics on it is so, like, the information out there was really hard to find because it was kind of like the oh my God, what was that other episode where we ripped Manikits? It was kind of like Manikits where we get like conflicting information from other people. Mm-hmm. So we did our best to cover it. So I'm not sure where all the rules are, but I think I know a couple of sites that I can get you to. As far as the fursuit goes, there are several different fursuit makers out there that do Protogen specifically. So there's one called Protogen Dream Studios. There's another one called Furbitten Studios. Atomic Fursuits. And then there's one particular person that I like to follow on YouTube. They're called JTing-F, which I'll put in the information below. There's going to be so many links. So I might as well create like a document for it. But they basically program a lot of things into their hood. The cool thing about Protogen fursuits is that you can literally see as you would with your regular eyes because the visor is a see-through visor. So you have the advantage over regular fursuits. The downside to it is there's a lot of technology that goes into it. And technology is expensive. Even if it's just minimal like LED lighting and stuff, you still have to learn how to program it and make it functional for your fursuit. So while it could be seen as like doing a partial could be fairly cheap, you might also run into the problem of electronics, which are not cheap right now. So, but I'll give you some information of where you can find certain things. Protogens are pretty cool. I think if I were to ever create a new persona, I think probably would do a Protogen.
Yeah, Protogens are absolutely adorable. So,
or a Proto Bear. So you have a Proto Fox and a Proto Bear, but I don't know what the rules are. I typically don't follow them.
I know the Dutchie rules, and even those have changed since I last read them. So
the Dutchies, man. I don't know what's worse, the Dutchie fans or the Sonic fans.
I don't know. We're pretty rabid about our characters.
We once were doing an episode with Telephone, and we were posting some information on like for Affinity, and within minutes of me posting something, someone came into our inbox and was just going on a rampage of how you can't do this, you're not allowed to do it. And then I'm like, we have permission from Telephone and we have permission to use a specific name. We were creating like, I think it was that we created a mascot. His name was Broadcast. And for the Dutch Angel Dragons, the only people that can use legit like audio names is Telephone, her husband, and maybe a few select other people. So we were very fortunate to work with her to get a mascot, and someone freaked out about it. And so then I had to have Telephone message them and be like, your person's freaking out on me. I don't even know who they are, but they say they're like one of your, not like fans, like one of your moderators. And so she reached back, and then I got this email like a day later. She's like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do this. So.
Yeah. Which I'm happy to say that graphics, my Dutchie is a one of a kind in a few details. But yeah, even I'm pretty fiercely protective of my Dutch.
Oh man.
Of my Dutch dragon.
Huge. Okay, I'm gonna do the best I can. This is like a novel of a post of an email. So,
all right, you are close to beating me. Congratulations.
All right, so let me see if I can find their name here. Okay, so our next email comes from Chipper. And Chipper, I do apologize if I skim read on some of this because it's so long, but know that we are reading your email. Hi, I'm fairly new to the fandom. I went to MFF with a friend and realized, oh, I should have done this years ago. Let's go. As an ace person, what is an ace person? Is it like an asexual person?
Asexual, yeah.
Okay. As an ace person, I was a little afraid of the furry fandom. Unfortunately, because of the negative stereotypes and being uncomfortable and over-the-top sexual. The historic, cultural, negative vibes like CSI and blah, blah, blah. But I found it to be so fun and inclusive and welcoming, and yay, hooray. Fundamentally, I just really like animals and animal media. Grew up in reading Warrior Cats and Guardians of the Gahul.
Yep.
I think that's
Guardians of Gahul.
Gahul.
It is. Yeah, the Guardians of Gahul. It's one of Autumn's favorites.
Oh, that's cool.
It involves owls. So.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense because of the name. So this was a long time coming for sure. I literally have used animal enthusiasts in my email signature and bios for years and making animal-inspired art, though not anthro. For the last few weeks, I've been doing a lot of listening and watching and learning of different furry content creators to learn more. So thanks for doing this podcast. Anyway, some questions or comments and questions for you all. So got several of them. So the first one is, in your podcast, you often reference visual things, taking time to describe images or more, or sharing the images somehow in a link to show notes would be nifty for us to contextualize your reactions. So that's something I have actually thought about doing, is creating, either using the notes that we use for recording and putting that in there so you guys can follow along with it, if that would make it easier for you all. Taking time to describe images more and sharing the images somehow in a link. We're doing better with that. I've stopped using, what is that other site that I used to use? It keeps having so many breaches. I've started just to use Google Docs to post images on because I can control the link and I'm not worried about Google. So there's that. Oh, there's a B to this question?
Yeah, there's a 1B.
What? Okay. I don't know if it's just me not understanding Telegram at all, but I literally cannot use your link that you swear works. But whatever. I may never figure out how Telegram works anyways. But also, maybe share relevant pictures in Telegram if you don't already. If not for me, for everyone else, or maybe you already do, in which case, thank you. I've heard a lot of people say that the link doesn't work, but every time I send a link and I test it, even testing it as like, I'll even use like a proxy server to test it to make sure that it doesn't like go back on my already recognized link. And it seems to work just fine. And it works for everyone else. But what you could do is you could search straight from the muzzle in the Telegram like app itself and see if that pulls up. And if it does, then you can go ahead and just request to be in the group. We do have it now set up to where if you request to join, you have to sit there and wait until one of us looks at your profile. What really helps, and this is just for everyone, is you have a profile picture and you at least have something like a bio. And then that kind of helps us determine, okay, yeah, this is like a legit account, or no, it's not. If it's just like a profile picture with like 2 letters, which is like your initials, we won't accept those just because it's too easy for us to think that it's possibly a spam account. Number 2, Dear Dog's warning just came in time for me in that commission episode about the bot accounts. It's so funny. I was just talking about that. And weird watermarks that say preview. I just made a separate Instagram specifically to follow a bunch of makers in the fandom and was surprised to see these random accounts were following me. And they were totally these sketchy scam accounts. So thanks very much for the warning that I was literally listening to this as I started to get the messages from these accounts. So thanks for taking action.
Yeah, they just say hi, and then, yeah.
So I got what was it? I got a message from, I think I got a message on Telegram like about a month or 2 ago of someone saying like, oh, hey, I'm a furry. I was wondering if you'd like to do, commission me for art. And I'm just like, I know you're a bot and I know you're also scamming me. So no. And then I blocked them. But I make a point to say it.
I always get really entertaining ones. Like, I love the ones that ask me if I want a logo done because I'm a Twitch streamer. And it's like, if y'all look at my channel, you will see that I have a professionally made logo, background, border, all of it because I'm a graphic designer.
Exactly.
And then I get them, I basically start talking in circles and get them to repeat something. I have actually gotten a bot to restart like 5 times in a row. I would get it in a conversation and I would ask a question that would force it to go back to the beginning. It's so much fun.
To kind of like piggyback off of that particular topic, there are a couple of ways spammers get to know you. They'll either come right off the bat and say, will you basically commission me? And they just use AI art. It's not even real. Or they steal other people's art or styles and then call it as their own. So that's one. The other way, and I don't want to like say that this is a bad thing, but kind of just be on the watch when people just randomly message you and then they try to get to know you. And then what they do is they use that against you and try to get you to commission them. It's what scammers do, like to old people, and it's messed up, but it works. So they know it works and they know it works on multiple platforms. So it's not necessarily saying, so it's okay to talk to people like in messages, but once they start asking you to commission them, that's where I would put the red flag up and be like, maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, here's the other thing. Artists aren't going out and asking people to commission them. People usually go to them, or they'll say, we have open links or open slots, but they're not coming to you personally. They're not going to personally message you and say, hey, will you commission me? That's not something artists do. So that's also something to keep in mind. Number 3, fun conceptual question to ponder. Do you ever compare the fandom to the hobby horsing community? Oh my God. It's so there's this email and then there's the one next to it. What are the odds? I didn't even proofread this email. That's so funny. In both, I see a deep connection to animals and a joyful imaginative ability to overlook the artifice. Man, you're using some complex words, man. Words that I don't even use. The fursuit, the head on a stick, and embody a new creature. Big different age and gender skew, but maybe that's part of it. A grand balance in the animal headspace. Do we know of people that went from hobby horse community into the furry fandom? That would be really interesting. I think hobby horsing is fairly new though, so I don't know the answer to that question.
I think it is. I know of it for very, very multiple reasons from topics we've covered in more of the adult episodes. But to me, hobby horsing is more of a discipline. So I don't know the crossover, especially because I think recently they did an episode on Good Mythical Morning with hobby horsing. And it was interesting. But there's a discipline to it that fits a lot with some of the different plays that I think it's...
I'd have to do research on it.
It runs alongside the furry community, but I don't know of the crossover.
I feel like a lot of things kind of run along the lines or intersect with the furry fandom, but I'm not sure where those points. Like we already know bronies are obviously linked to the furry fandom. It's not the furry fandom is linked to the bronies. It's kind of like the other way around. It's like other communities gravitate around us, and that's kind of how it works. I'm going to go to the next one. It's such a big email with so many fancy words. I'm sorry. Damn it. Take a drink. All right. Number 4, I see a lot of makers who crochet or needle felt, probably some knitters out there too. I just want to point out, and my sister-in-law has grilled me for this, don't call someone who crochets someone who knits, because they're obviously two different things. I have now been told that multiple times, and I will not mistake it again. I'm just surprised I don't see more fursuits relying on this alternative fiber discipline. Unless have you all seen that somewhere that I'm missing it? There's a little paper and cardboard and a whole lot of fur. I also ask this as a crafty person who may pioneer into it, but I do feel like there would be cool costumes covered in knit or crochet skin fur. So I could see it being a thing. I would see it more as like an accessory to put with your fursuit or over your fursuit head. But a fursuit to be made out of crochet, it would be I feel like it would fall apart a lot more easily than fursuits are. They're sewn in together, they're glued, they're pretty much like hardwired, and crochet is more flexible and stretchy. And so I feel like they could probably come up with an idea for it, but it would be really difficult for the outcome. I've never crocheted. I've done like some knitting myself, so I really can't speak on behalf of anyone else who crochets or knits, but I don't know. It would be interesting to look and see if there's anything out there. I'd be willing to look into it. Speaking of, at MFF, I wanted to be festive and dressed for the occasion, but I didn't have any fursuity clothes. So I wore my corn mask that I already had. And they give us a picture of their corn mask, which I think is pretty funny. It's cute. It actually works really well. You don't have to have any type of furry clothing or a fursuit to be a furry in the fandom. I see lots of variations of people doing their own thing or being their own entity, and it's not always a fursuit. I've seen cardboard ones. I've seen TV monitor ones. I follow a guy who does 3D print of Minecraft-esque, like bit looking fursuit head and stuff. It's really cool. I've been following him from his transition. There's a guy out there named Elliot Stuff. They do a lot of paper crafts, and they do some really elaborate paper crafting fursuit heads that I'm just like, damn, son. And they're young too. So I can't imagine where they're going to be when they're like 18 or in their adult years, and what new thing that they're going to come up with, because what they're doing now really raises the bar for crafting of a fursuit outside of like the furry kind of stuff. But so much of my joy there was how full of cute and amazing animals it was. So it felt very silly to be a vegetable, though people were so nice and excited by my corniness. I love the pun. Post-con, I created myself a persona, Chipper. I don't know how I'm going to say this. Jerboa Cheetle hybrid. Holy tongue twister. I'm going to have to look at that up because I don't know what that is. I know what a Don Cheetle is, but that's not a furry. That's a comedian. Thanks for keeping up with your podcast. It's fun for the listeners, Chipper. So I'll definitely include this picture in the document that I'll be creating, just so everyone can see it. It's a really cute picture. It's him in a corn mask. Very well done. I'd be wanting to know if that's something that you crocheted or if you got from someone else, because that's pretty cool. It's pretty corny. Get it?
Yes.
Corny.
Sorry.
Okay. Yes. Oh, whatever.
I currently have a cat that wants butt scritches, and that's what I'm giving at the moment.
Oh, okay. Oh, you know what?
And now
that whole email was about hobby horsing. Okay. I got them mixed up. I thought it was another email above. Hobby horsing. Mm-hmm. I'd equate hobby horsing to that game that people play, the Harry Potter game, where they've Quidditch. It's like ground Quidditch. They run around with their brooms and stuff. They do that like at universities. That's totally a sport. So I would equate hobby horsing to be something like that, but more, I guess, serious. So
yes. Yeah.
We'll look into it.
Okay. Last but not least. And it's addressed to you and you're making me read it.
Oh, I didn't even know. Sorry.
It's fine. So, Space. I know you floofs are busy, so I'll keep it brief. Doesn't matter. We'll read it anyway. I wanted to say thank you for your episode on furry burnout. Funny enough, it's both the first episode I listened to, but also something I really needed to hear. Naturally, I find your podcast while driving out of state for work, so I had plenty of time to listen and think. I've been a furry since the late 90s, and the creativity has only expanded since then, often through the same routine mentioned in your podcast. Stepping away from drawing to try other things for a while. My most recent creative variation has been building worlds for VR chat, like the meetup world for my little community, the Good Beans.
Oh,
that's just an amazing community name. I feel like a lot of artists fall into the same trap you guys mentioned, a feeling required to do X to find validation or acceptance. You want to keep getting that endorphin rush from likes on your work, so it's hard to accept that it's okay to stop, step back, and take time for yourself and find other things that bring you joy too. Self-care, as sterile as that sounds, is something that we as a community seem to forego too often. Again, thanks for reminding me, and I'm sure many others, that basically everyone can have this burnout at some point, and there's many acceptable ways to deal with and recover from it. Toner Husky.
The fact that their name is Toner Husky definitely makes me think that they're an older fur, probably in their late 30s, if not 40s, especially since they reference the 90s, because young furs never reference the 90s.
No.
I listen to 90s music on the radio specifically because I like that music better than current music.
Oh, yeah, of course.
The burnout episode was a really interesting one because it did help me. I'm realizing I'm not getting burnout. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
I just noticed what it did and it reactivated.
Okay, good. So I think I've realized that my burnout isn't necessarily coming from the podcast. It's coming from work. And when I come home from work, I'm still de-stressing and it takes a while for me to do that. So I'm trying to find ways to not be as stressed at work. So that way when I come home, I can enjoy the other things like the podcast and the furry fandom. I hope other people find that episode to be really helpful as well. I think my husband said that he really wanted to listen to it because I know my husband gets burnout with his artwork. He used to do it like every single day, and now he does it like maybe once or twice a week. So it's, everyone goes through burnout and they suffer it differently, and hopefully they come out, in the end on top, but you never really know. So one thing I've been telling myself every day is that I take one day at a time. I'm not worried about the next day. I'm not worried about a week from now. I'm only taking the day that I have currently. And I'll deal with those issues. And then from there, I move on to the next one. And that's how I'm kind of, I guess you could say, curbing and coming out of the burnout. So it was a good episode.
Do you think we should do a self-care episode?
We should. That would be a really good episode to do.
Because a lot of people, I can tell you from personal experience, a lot of people do not know what self-care actually is. So it'd probably be fun to do one.
It'd be interesting too. We could talk about so we talked about in the burnout episode how the fandom is purely 100% all creativity. So you're using your creativity in your brain all the time. And so it's really easy to burn out from that. But there are things that you can do outside of that to really help with self-care. One of those things can be crafting, like crochet. So maybe pick up a new topic or a new hobby like crochet. I guess you could also hobby horse if you wanted to as well. That would be interesting. Yeah, we should do an episode about self-care. That would be really good.
Yeah.
Thanks for sending us that email. Really appreciate it. I hope that you join our group, or at least I can get in touch with you because you seem like a really cool person. Not to say that all the other ones are not cool people. It just seems like something that's more relevant to like my age range or maybe a little bit older. But I really like talking to people that are usually older than me. So I don't know. I just like listening to people talk. I'm boring like that. So those are all of our emails. We thank you guys for listening into them. I will take, let me go back into this. I will take Chipper's comments into action, and I will create more documents for each episode where we talk about certain things and we describe certain things, and where we also have pictures that you guys can also look at and kind of see what we're talking about. So it's easier for you guys to see it. It's harder if you're on your phone and you can't necessarily, like, if you're driving or if you're doing something else, it's harder to like pull that stuff up. But we'll still provide something that's pretty descriptive. So that's something I will enact going forward. Mm-hmm. Probably for this episode, because there's a lot of links to get for this episode.
Yes.
So that's, like I said, all of our emails. And this is our second episode into season 11. So we'll probably do, let's see, if this one's coming out in March. Let me look at the calendar. So March, April, May. We'll probably do another Fangasms in May or June. So if you do send it an email and you haven't gotten a response back yet, just know it's not that we're ignoring you. We're just saving up emails to read on for our next Fangasm. If you need immediate contact, you can just reach out to us on Twitter, Telegram, or Blue Sky, and we can definitely talk further from there.
Yes.
Any other notes?
Not that I can think of, no.
I'm hungry and I want pizza, and Curtis got Pizza Hut. So
yeah, I had nuggies and French fries, so I'm good.
I'm surprised I only drank half of this Mike's Hard. Weird. I should probably just chug the rest of it when we're done recording.
And speaking of drinking, it's now time to reveal the amount of times Space and Ruby said the magical word.
Sorry. Damn it.
That's right. Space asked me to keep account this entire time. So, looking at the tally, including the 2 times it was written in one of the emails, we get a total of 12 shots. But if someone gets a different number, feel free to let me know in Telegram.
You guys know where to find us. We're on Spotify and everywhere else you can find podcasts. And make sure that I keep up to date on all of our social links if I can. We have our Telegram, we have Twitter, but everyone's migrating over to Blue Sky. So we have Blue Sky as well. If you want more current, up-to-date chatter, the Telegram is the best one to go for. I have yet to find a good source for chatting groups besides Discord, which we don't use anymore because it's confusing to me. It's too much. It's a lot too much.
I only use Telegram for Straight from the Muzzle. I'm on Discord.
Yeah, that's the same thing too. So Dear Dog only uses Telegram for the podcast, and everything else she does on Discord. So.
Yeah, because with Magic the Gathering and streaming, we use video chats a lot and audio chats, and Discord is far superior for that.
And so I'm not like that technically adept. So I've tried Discord so many times. I still have it, but I don't really use it unless Felix and I are gaming together. Mm-hmm. So, but again, thank you everyone for listening, and we'll see you on our next episode, which I'm not sure what that one will be, but it'll be something.
Yep.
So have a good night, everyone.
I'll probably be on it.
Yeah, you'll probably be on it. True.
Yeah.
Totally true.
But yep, have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.